Now that I sat down, I haven't talked to you guys forever. Look who jumps up on the chair. Oh, good, he got down and started yelling. So that's because when I come outside on my cart or when I walk up around and I'm walking around here, he thinks I'm going to bring him a treat. So he wants to get my attention. I'm ignoring him and he will not tolerate that. When I brought home all of the little chicks, they were all the same size and they fit right in the palm of your hand. Especially my three little Rhode Island Reds, and they were just precious. And as time went on, they started changing and growing, except for one, and that was little Olivia. This is a sweetheart. It's a Rhode Island Red. Olivia never really got taller. She just kept getting fatter. And her bottom was just as solid as a baseball. And she would eat and drink and healthy as a chick could be, but never got bigger. So there was a definite problem, but I babied her and babied her. Out of all the chicks, she's the one that got the pasty butt, and she got it a lot. So I had to keep that cleaned up. The other ones never got it. And she was just so precious, and she would let you hold her and pet her, and she ran with the other chickens. They never picked on her. At least I never saw them pick on her. They made room for her. Her biggest problem was they would step on her because she was so small, and she would go stand somewhere in the coop and not move, and they would want something there, so they would just step on her and step over her. But they never hurt her, and she was part of the flock. At night, when it came time to go to bed, they go into their building up on the very top. And here we are at night. There's Cordell. And they're all working their way up to the top. And then when I get in here in about an hour, they're going to all be in the rafters. That's where they like to sleep, up at the very top. Clear up in the ceiling. Everybody but Olivia. She could never get up there. And so there was a place between the wall and the floor that I would put straw in, and she would sleep right there every night. And I felt so sorry for her because when I was putting the coop up at night, you could see her looking up at them and trying to figure out how to get up there. I'm going to go through my videos to put them together with this, and I really hope I got a video of the day that we finally let them out from their building to our long run here, and they all came flying outside, and we were sitting out here where I'm sitting now, my family, and we said, oh no, little Olivia didn't come out with the rest of them. And no sooner did we say that than she came flying down the ramp. She was so excited to be outside. So she did try to do other chicken things and be like the other chickens. That she sure did, but she just never got any bigger. One day, now Olivia lived quite a while, maybe 8 weeks. And all the other chickens were outside here in the run except for Olivia. So I went to check on her, and she was standing there, just standing there. She looked kind of peaked, but I picked her up and I put some food in my hand, and she ate it. I set her down by the water, and she drank, and she was eating and drinking, so I assumed she was okay. So I picked her up and I put her outside with the others. But I put her underneath the ramp over here where it was nice and cool and she could be by herself. Later on that afternoon, my husband came and got me and said he thought something was wrong with her. So I ran out here as fast as I could, and I found little Olivia laying on her stomach completely flat. So I picked her up, and we got in the golf cart, We were going back to the house. I was telling my husband, she's already gone. She's already gone. I don't know what happened. When she lifted her little head, and I said, oh my gosh, she's still alive. So I got her a little pan of water and I dipped her beak in it and she started drinking. And so I thought I could just baby her back to life. And I decided to separate her from the other chickens. And we got out our initial setup, how we raised the chicks when they were little. And I put her in there, but by the end of the day, she had passed away. I've seen a lot of videos on homesteading and farming where they tell you that's the hardest part is when you have livestock, you have pets, which I've lost pets before, dogs and cats, and it's very hard. It was really hard losing little Olivia. She had become my baby in just a few short weeks, so it was very, very hard. But Olivia and these chickens taught me some lessons, and they continue to teach me lessons. And something else that's funny too is all these sayings that I grew up with that have to do with chickens. I never figured out where they came from, other than they were just, a play on words having to do with chickens, like henpecked. But if you sit and I wash this chair every night, and I come out here several times a day and sit with them and just observe. You can see where these words came from and just watch their behavior, and they're just fascinating. So, I wanted to tell you a little bit about what Olivia taught me. It appears as though we are all napping. Girls, I brought you treats. I brought you treats. Oh, you're so excited. Some people would say, and even I did, that Olivia was meek. She was a meek little bird. She wasn't like the other ones. So I looked up the word meek in the dictionary, and it means the quality or state of being a mild, moderate, humble, or submissive quality. And that fit her to a T. She was mild. She was moderate. I don't know about humble with the chicken, but she was submissive. And the other chickens, they do have here's another play on words, pecking order, but they do have a pecking order based on who's the strongest in the flock and who's the meekest. And after a little more investigation, I found that the word meek comes from the Greek word parates. Sorry, you guys, Marshall just hit the table. Which depicts the attitude or demeanor of a person who is forbearing, patient, and slow to respond in anger. One who remains control of themselves in the face of insults or injuries. And yes, that fit Olivia too. She was always controlled, always patient. All the other chickens ate first, and she came later. Slow to respond in anger. I never saw her peck at any of the other chickens, so that fit her very well too. But to me, you could turn that around and say meekness is also a sign of strength, especially in today's world where there's so much road rage, for example. And especially after the pandemic, it seems to me like people have gotten ruder. You're in the grocery store and they try to race you to the checkout line or take a certain parking spot, or they have trouble in the workplace. I've seen on Facebook people posting, I'm going to tell them to shove this job because they don't like to listen to authority. So I feel like in today's world, being able to control your emotions and your tongue is a strength. And if you can control that until just the right time when it's more effective, then you are really a strong person. I used to work for a psychologist for 16 years, And I remember him saying, you can be arguing with a person and they could really be striking a chord and be correct and you're following everything. But the minute they say a curse word, your brain will shut them off because you're focusing on that word. And it's true. It's very true. But if you can contain yourself and control your emotions, strike at the right time with the right words, it'll be more effective. Aristotle said that Protus, which is the Greek word for meek, is a person who has the virtue of the mean between two extremes. If a reckless were on one end and a cowardness were on the other, it might be characterized as steady courage. For example, a meek person doesn't shy away from taking a stand. Rather, the stand is taken at the right time, with the right people, in the right way. He or she submits or constrains power for greater effect and self and others, which is what I'm trying to say. Now, I've never been accused of being meek. I'm, I'm just not. I've always been real outgoing and I say how I feel. And something else that's not always been real positive, I talk with my hands. And some people see that as aggressiveness. And I started thinking, when did I maybe do something that was not meek? And then when did I do something that was meek? And I was able to summarize that in one example. I had been invited to a meeting where I was working because I had some expertise on the topic that we were talking about, and the process was being changed, and we were all trying to get that figured out. So here I was, and I was low on the pecking order, but I still knew most about it. And I was asked to come and give my opinion. So at this table was myself and a lot of administrators and executives. Um, One of the administrators gave an example of how they wanted things to be for this situation. And I said, this is all I got out. I said, can you explain to me why? And I was using my hands. Some people really find that aggressive. That's all I said. Can you explain to me why? And I was shut down. And she said to me, you don't ever question me. I am administrative. You are not. Don't you ever question me again. This was at a table full of people, my peers. So that I would say I was not in the wrong. I was simply asking a question and I never raised my voice. However, I should have waited until a more appropriate time to ask. I could tell this person was agitated. But in the same breath, meekness took over. And as the meeting went on, I started making a list. And on the left hand side, why should I stay? And on the right hand side, I wrote, why should I go? And I started writing, well, I should stay because I was invited. I should stay because my boss wants me to. Why should I go? Clearly, they don't want my opinion. Why should I go? I was insulted in front of everyone. Why should I go? My self-esteem. And as time went on, why should I go? Outnumbered. Why should I stay? So during the meeting, I picked up my things and I walked out. I then went and I wrote an email to everyone at the meeting and I said I would no longer be participating. And it wasn't long before I got a letter of apology. But what I'm trying to say is this world could sure use speaking at the right time, at the right place, with more of a tempered, um, more of a tempered way, in more of a tempered way than the aggressive, coming across as aggressive. But you should always stand up for yourself. And I started thinking too about some people that I know that would be considered meek. And, are those people really meek or are they just nice? They don't strike out at people. They listen to what you're saying. They don't tell people off often. They're very they're very tempered in the way that they respond to situations. So, in my opinion, they are the strongest. So, actually, little Olivia was the strongest one in the flock. I have got the world's most spoiled chickens. They get hugs and kisses every day. They get their coop here raked and cleaned out every morning. Fresh water, fresh food. And they always get a treat in the afternoon. And then they get some mealworms in the evening before they go to bed. They have got the life. And they still have the nerve to peck my feet. I mean, come on, don't bite the hand that feeds you, or the foot. Ow! Who is over here? Hey, come over here and eat these strawberries. They love them. Cordell loves them, don't you, Cordell? Yes, he does. Oh. You betcha. You betcha we'll go get them. Okay. Oh. Would you hush? Hush. You hush too. So, you guys, thank you so much for joining me this week. I'm back on a regular schedule now, videos once a week, and I've got to show you my stand and how well it did this summer and what it's meant to me and some things that I did over the summer. No trips. I still can't do that very much, but I have everything I need right here. Okay, thanks, you guys. Come back and see me. Good night, girls. Good night, Cordell.